Welcome to Iamhero Presentation. Iamhero is an innovative startup that works in the field of neurodevelopmental disorders in order to improve disease treatment through a game-based approach with primary focus on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The startup name wants to represent the unique nature of ADHD patients, heroes with a great potential that needs to be channeled properly. To do so, we have created Iamhero, the Heroes Trainer, that is a system able to guide ADHD patients through therapy, improving at the same time therapeutic need and disease management. Iamhero wants to create an advanced game-based therapeutic environment that can be administered in conjunction with standard treatment and that aims to boost its efficacy. Iamhero has a dual nature. A first part used in clinical environment during patient's therapeutic session, while a second part is used at home in the time span between clinical sessions. Iamhero is composed by three elements: 3 applied games that are used in the clinical environment, a dashboard used to manage the game administration, and a mobile app containing 4 mini-games in order to continue the training at home. Let's deepen a typical training session in clinic. When the patient arrives, the therapist can access the web app of the dashboard using its own credential. On the first page, he or she will find the recap of the patients that have been associated with this account. In this way, it will be easy to find and select the right patients. Below, there is a calendar where the therapist can insert notes for each of its patients. For example, regarding the administration of a standardized test. This note will be available on the calendar of the selected patient. The therapist can select the patient by clicking on the patient's card. The first section summarizes patient's personal data, the credential to be used for the mobile app, the associated therapists, and the caregivers, as well as the informed consent, for example, for participating in the clinical trial or in general for the treatment administration. A Setup tab where the therapist can enable or disable patient access to the mobile app and check the standardized test that will be administered. The main board contains a summary of the last month of digital sessions in clinic. The first pie chart indicates the distribution of tasks realized by the player in the 3 applied games, while the following 3 graphs illustrate the success rate in each game. Likewise, there is a bar graph illustrating the main parameters trained with the use of minigames at home within the mobile app. Below, there is a recap of the last session in clinic with the detail of the levels played and the results mean, as well as the last homework assigned and considered completed with the detail of the skill trained. Further down, there is a calendar where all the notes associated with the specific patient are available. For example, here we will find the note previously entered. Let's deepen the start of a clinical digital session. A crucial part of the dashboard is represented by the Applied Game section. Here the therapist can find 3 boxes, each of which contains a brief description of the game and the skills trained, as well as the equipment required to play. For each game, it is possible to select the therapy room and start a digital session. For each selection, a random PIN code is created. This code will be used in the game application to log in and associate the user with the session ongoing. Once logged in, the game shows both patient and therapist logged, and the 3 games available. Here follows an example of one game. Infinite Runner is an extra game with 11 levels and 2 different locations. After choosing the level, if present, the player can perform the tutorial or skip it and perform the level. For example, in this level the player has to solve several tasks that consist of recognizing a specific group of items. In order to do so, the player has to move left or right and catch only the specific item that is shown. If the player identifies and grabs the correct item, the task counter increases. If the item grabbed is incorrect, the player can earn a penalty and lose a life. If all the lives are lost, the game shows a game over, while if the player solves each assigned task, the level is completed. During the game execution, for each object taken, the player will receive a visual and audio feedback, which is vitally important for this kind of patients. During the entire game session, the therapist can choose which and how many levels or games are to be played. After the game session execution, the therapist can consult the dashboard to check the game score achieved. For example, in the previous game, the player has achieved a score of 76. At the end of the clinical session, the therapist can assign homework that will be done by the player through a mobile app. There are 4 minigames available, and for each of them there is a short description and a list of possible tasks that can be assigned. For example, in the ASO memory minigame, there are tasks like flip at least 30 pair of cards in less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or reach at least 70 points. As long as the homework is active, each assigned task can be removed or replaced. The ongoing assigned homework consists of the totality of the chosen tasks. This homework is active as long as the therapist decided to end it. When this happens, the homework status changes from ongoing to completed, and it can be found in the results summary. Iamhero dashboard can be used to assess patients' performance and evaluate his or her progress. In particular, there is a dedicated section called Session Chronology, where the therapist can select a reference period and evaluate the distribution of tasks among the 3 games, as well as the monthly average of game scores. Choosing different periods, the graphs will adjust consequently. It is also possible to select and extract the detail of each subsession, inclusive of all the parameters that contribute to score assignment. In this way, it is possible to conduct an offline data analysis in order to deepen patients' progress and adjust both standard and digital treatment. The same procedure can be realized with the gamification homework results. There are other several features available in Iamhero dashboard, such as the possibility to upload patients' diagnosis. In this way, the therapist will be able to track, for example, both patients' evaluation update and its therapeutic process. Related to the previous point, There is the possibility to upload the results of standardized tests that are typically used with children suffering with ADHD. For each test, it is possible to insert the reference school class and the results obtained. For example, for the Omino Good Enough test, it is possible to insert the raw score and the age-related performance. The entered data can be downloaded in order to be analyzed. At the same time, since each clinic may use different tests, it is also possible to personalize this instrument according to the clinic's needs, adding specific tests used. Finally, let's see how to add a patient to the clinic. In order to do so, the head therapist has to add patient personal data and the user and password that will be used by the patient in the mobile app. It is possible also to associate the therapist team and the caregiver account, along with all the material previously listed. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more information, please write to info@iamhero.eu.